The Art of Felfs is my newest book, and I think you'll love what's inside. There's something else inside, though, which makes it the most important book I've ever done. If you'll give me 1 minute to tell you about it, then I'll tell you about the Felfs. A few years ago, I taught a knitting workshop to benefit the University of Vermont Cancer Research Lab of Dr. David Krag. He pioneered sentinel node localization, a technique that has since protected the arms of over 1 million women with breast cancer, many of them knitters. I stayed with David and his family, and I can tell you that within this very tall scientist, there lives a boy with boundless creative agility, endowing David with the most fluid and available intelligence of anyone I've ever met. David's team is now nearly ready to begin clinical trials of a cancer treatment that uses a patient's own antibodies to disable their own cancer without the interference of the body's autoimmune response. This has never been done before and will someday replace the violence of chemotherapy. 100% of this book's proceeds are going to David's lab to help this happen sooner rather than later. When the day comes that chemo has been replaced by David's gentle treatment, you will know that you helped make it so by purchasing the book for yourself and letting other knitters know about it. Thank you so much. So what are Felfs? I made up the word by dissolving felted elfin footwear into one sound. These flat knit garter stitch shapes fold into almost any kind of foot and leg garment you could imagine. They get sewn up, felted to fit, and can be knit by somebody the first day they learn to knit. Yet the most advanced knitters are mesmerized by the possibilities. The book includes 15 styles, including how to fit them to any foot in the universe and how to felt with or without a machine. This is the basic 8-square felf. It underlies all the other felf shapes. You can find this shape inside every other felf, and the way we fold this is the way we fold all of them. Some of the others have other parts attached, but they still get folded the same way. You'll see that I have attached some markers here. I've put the markers in all the places where things will get folded. This one and this one are the A markers. They're going to go together like this. This is going to become the toe. Then this orange one and that orange one are going to come over, and look at how the foot is beginning to take shape. In fact, you're looking at the shape of the sole right here. That's the sole. And then here we have the big blue one's got to come over to meet the other big blue one. Here we are, and my goodness, it looks like we've kind of got a little foot here, don't we? It's that simple. In the book, you'll find fully illustrated instructions for folding every style of felf. So there I am. I've attached myself down here, and I'm simply going to be sewing like this. It's just an overcast stitch. If I'm a little awkward, it's because I have the camera poised right in front of my nose. I'm looking around the side of it. So I'm just going to sew like this. Notice I'm not pulling anything very tightly. Let me show you. And I'm also not going exactly into the same place every time. You can if you want. But I have to tell you, when you're felting, you don't need to be perfect. And if you're going to keep trying to be perfect when it doesn't matter, you should worry about yourself a little. Knitting is a very, very good place to relax and find out that what matters and what doesn't, and to act accordingly. So let me just show you what this looks like. It lies flat. It doesn't go up into a point because we don't want a ridge. And it's more or less the same elasticity and amount of yarn in the same space as the rest of your knitting. Okay, so I have knit all the way around to there. The toe is closed. So is the front of the toe. And now we're going to see we've got two little markers here. That's because that same point will go to two places. The first place it will go is here. The other one's going to come here later. So now I'm going to sew from there to there. Now that I have sewn the first seam and the second seam, it's possible to see what happens next. You cannot do this until you have sewn those seams because everything will come apart. You have to have it stable and sewn, and then the third seam becomes really easy. You simply are going to fold right down the middle of the toe, right there. Fold it in half, like so. So now you've put the foot in profile. Can you see we're beginning to get a Felf here? And now these two blue guys come together. There they are. And that's your final seam right down there. As you begin to sew this seam, tack it a little extra right here because this is the stress point right here where the foot is going to be opening. So you can see there's the toe, there's the heel. I like to round it a little, so watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to just sort of dip in and gather together the ends. Notice I am not being careful about what I pick up. I'm just kind of dipping in and I'm pulling it and I'm kind of gathering that all up. See how now I have a more rounded end? Everything else you'll need is in the book. This is something I call the 7 nesting Felfs. There are 7 sizes here, and they start with very little and go to rather large. Each of them has what I call a Felf number, or an F, and they start out with a small Felf number, as you could imagine. This little one here has an F number of 9. They go up by 2. This one has an F number of 11, 13, 17, 19, oh dear, I count very badly. Let's see, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, and 21. They go up by 2. You notice that changing the Felf number makes for bigger Felfs, kind of slowly but kind of quickly as well, because we've gone all the way from that one to that one. Now, your F number will allow you to size your Felfs to fit any foot. I don't care what size foot it is. I'm donating the entire proceeds of this book to Dr. David Krag's. I'm doing that because I believe that he is going to change the landscape of cancer treatment from what is presently kind of a brutal wasteland of chemotherapy and radiation to one where when you find out you have cancer, you think, oh, not much to worry about. David is working on a method of using your own antibodies to treat your own cancer without triggering the autoimmune response that has always been in the way of previous attempts to do this. David has been working on this for some time. He's getting very close to clinical trials. It's something that is very much within reach. He needs more funding, and my plan is that knitters are going to put him over the top with the funding he needs to complete his research and make this something that you and your family can use if you ever need it. Because I have had long talks with David and have been so inspired by what he has been able to explain to me and how clearly he can explain it that I believe it's going to work. As he says, I know this can work. He also says it's all I can think about. So let's help him change the landscape of cancer treatment into a flowering garden instead of a kind of gruesome place. And Felfs can do it. In fact, you could think of it this way: more Felfs, less chemo, because his treatment method is going to replace chemo someday. And I would like you someday to be able to say, I made Felfs, I helped that happen.